Itzhak, we are now streaming live. That's what the message says. How do you feel about that?
I'm streaming always. There's nothing can stop me.
Ah, oh man. Let's see. We'll wait for Lauren. Lauren hasn't dropped off. Let's see if I can. I'll hide. I'll do that. Oh, look at us. We're on top of each other.
Oh, really?
Usually, I feel like we should be side by side.
The way I see it is side by side. So,
Oh, really? I wonder why we're like that. Let me see here. Huh. Okay. Well, we'll go with this. So, oh, there I just switched up. So, hello, everybody. Hello, Open Center community. My name is Ross Gutler. I'm the CEO of the Open Center, and I'm joined today by a close personal friend and one of our most popular teachers, and somebody who's been with the Open Center such a long time. Everybody's favorite, Itzhak Beery. I feel like I need little audience applause in the background there, like someone.
well, don't get it to get off my head,
Itzhak, this has been such a long time coming because, well, I'll set the stage a little bit. So we do these Facebook Lives. We're now doing one or two of them a week, and we appreciate everybody attending. They're always available so you can watch later. So if you stay on and like you've got to go in 20 minutes and you want to finish watching it, you can always finish watching it later on our Facebook page. But we bring our favorite presenters and teachers on to talk a bit about their upcoming classes, so people understand like what they're gonna get, what they can expect in classes, but also just to like have a dialogue and talk about what's going on in the world and learn more about people like you, that how you came to your practice and how it impacts the world, and just sometimes we just talk about random shit about what's going on in society, which fortunately and unfortunately, there's no shortage of shit to talk about with what's going on in society right now. So I've been looking forward to this for such a long time because you and I like get together, I don't know, once every other week, and we have cappuccinos in Washington Square Park. So for anybody in New York, if you ever see us out there, please come and stop by. We always have little people that stop in and say hello. And remember we talked about this is, I don't know, 6 months ago, we're like, we should do a little TV show, just you and I sitting and having coffee. So here we are, not sitting in Washington Square Park. Where are you right now?
I'm in my home,
Okay.
my home office now.
Yeah. And I am the same. Your home office looks a little different than mine. I've got some art behind me and some plants around, and you've got, well, about every type of, how would you characterize what you've got behind you? I see a drum. I don't know what type.
This room that I'm using now used to be a place where I just hang the stuff that I brought from the Amazon or from the Andes or from all my trips. It's just like hang them on the wall because I didn't know where to put them. I mean, it came out now kind of nice and handy
Yeah.
because because it really make a beautiful backdrop. But you know, I have to give up on my office now, of course, because of the um, pandemic. So it's a good place, and it's kind of like really warm my heart because like we said earlier, this is from Jose Joaquin, this is from Tintin, this is from all those are from this Sico Pai from the Amazon, and so this is given to me by Tintin, who is a very famous shamans there and an amazing guy. So there's a lot of memories and people from uh, different tribes, and so it's kind of like really nice to walk into their energy field.
Yeah. And I've got my bracelet on. You've got yours on. I've mine. I really love this. Let's see if people can see this. It's actually like the four seasons, and it's about like the passing of time through the four seasons. And our friend Joseph made these, right?
Yep.
Joseph, who we know from that lives with the Sequoia tribe in Ecuador. Just for reference, Itzhak leads a trip every year for 2.5 weeks to Ecuador. I think of it as a shamanic journey. I don't know what you actually title it, but I went with you this year. So for the first 2.5 months of January, I was with you in Ecuador. And man, for anybody that's not been to the Amazon or on any, this trip to me was such a beautiful blend of understanding other, in engaging yourself with other culture, but also exploring your inner self. And I mean, because you were there to work on yourself. So I hope that you'll be able to lead that again next year, that conditions will allow for it. And if they don't, you know, next year, but I'm giving you a little commercial for that. Because you only take a select group of people. You only take 15 or so people because that's all that can go on the trip.
Well, this year I'm planning to do something that is a little different. I want to do a group of women who are going to work with eldest women in the Andes, where the Pachamama is there powerfully, and to really work on women issues. Mm-hmm. And then to take a group of 12 men to the place that we went to, the place between in the border of Ecuador, Peru, and Colombia, which is like far away, the ancestral land of the Sacopai, to do more hunting, more survival, and more manly stuff for 1 week, and then we're going to bring the two groups together to reintegrate what they found about their gender and about their feminine and masculine side. And I think that it will be incredibly important because, you know, as you know, in the shamanic healing, we are trying to have a harmony or equilibrium between the feminine and the masculine side. And I'm trying to do it through the experience, not just about talking about it. But you know, it is so important for men to experience that part of themselves is the hunter-gatherer, and then to live in a situation of that is not comfortable at all. And I mean, you've been there. You saw what the impact that it had on us living in this kind of minimal, but everything is just so beautiful.
Yeah, I think I want to get to your background and how you came to sort of be who you are now. And I wanted to just share a quick story of how we met, because it's related to, I think, your story of, I went into the Open Center years ago, 3 years ago, maybe. I was there to take, I know what class I took. I took a class from Montauk Chia. And I went with my friend Kaz. She took me there. And so we were there for the class, and I'm fishing around in the bookstore because we've always got such great books. And I saw your book, The Gift of Shamanism. And I bought it. Did not know who you were. I don't know if I was aware of your name, but I didn't know what I know now. And I read the book, and I fucking loved it. I was like, oh my God. It was so great. And I read it so quick. I probably read it in like a day and a half. And I've since given it to several other people. And when I got to working at the Open Center, I asked Araceli, one of our lead programmers who's been with us for 20 years, I said, Araceli, I would love to meet Itzhak. And she said, well, he's going to be here in like 2 days teaching a class. You can meet him. And so I came downstairs. We met in the lobby. We sat at a table. And after 5 minutes, he said, you leaned your hands across the table. You grabbed my hands. You said, Russ, you need to come with me to Ecuador. I said, okay. All right, I will. That was all it took. And so we've now had a great friendship, and I spent time with you in Ecuador. So that's how I initially bonded with you and I find you so easy to connect with. You're one of the easiest people I've ever met to connect with. I think you're such a beautiful person. So, what got you here? You know, people can read your books. You've got 3 books, right?
Yeah,
4, 3.
three.
And I know you're working on a few new ones. So without having, I encourage people to read your books, but give us like the story of how you got to be where you are.
You know, actually, my shamanic practitioner career, it actually started at the New York Open Center.
Uh,
Um, I have to give thanks to all those people who came before us and that created that New York Open Center on Spring Street at that time. You know, I never thought that I have that kind of teachings or knowing or wisdom or abilities. I always thought that other people have that. It's that somehow God created special people that, of course, not me, somebody else that have the power to read, the power to heal, the power to, you know, to teach other people. So I always look up at you know, those shamans or healers or teachers that were above any of my ability to even imagine that I'm part of it. And I was born in kibbutz Beit Alpha in Israel. I was a painter. I was a fine artist, and I came to New York with my wife, and we came in just to basically for a year and a half to study more. She was a dancer, so our career took off, and we decided to stay a little longer because, you know, once you show in galleries and museums, you want to have, you know, you want to try to get the best out of it. And then we have a family, and then slowly years are pass by, and um, we stayed, and in order for me to survive, I was a graphic designer, and then I had my own advertising agency. And for many years, I had an advertising agency, that a small boutique one in the village here. And we won most of the awards in advertising. But when I got to the age of around mid 40s or so, I was just like really depressed, and I asked the big questions. What the hell do I do here on this earth? I couldn't find satisfaction anymore in making Gucci and Revlon ads, or or other people sell products or pictures or whatever it was that we were working on. And there is some satisfaction in that because you know, advertising people really have to be a good listeners and marketers to find out what other people's dreams are and to provide it to them. But for somehow it really didn't. I mean, I was like totally. I didn't know what else to do in my life. So
right.
anyway, I read a book like you read a book. I read a book by Hank Wasselman, and that was just before I went to Hawaii to participate in Men's Week over there in Kalani, Honua. And that book really opened my eyes and changed the way I was seeing. And then when in the end of the book, he write about a workshop with Michael Harner. And so when I came back from Hawaii, by mistake, I took the New York Open Center catalog from the supermarket here, and I opened it up and I said, Michael Harner. So I looked at the book and I said, that's the same name. There's a coincidence, right? So I said, well, there is no coincidence, right? So I decided to take this course. And Michael Harner was teaching at the New York Open Center with like a beautiful, big auditorium in a school somewhere with like maybe 100 and something people there. And I had incredible experience with him, and I started to see visions, and I started to see how it relates to other people, which is what shamanism is about. How do you make other people's life better? And I was hooked, and I went to Hawaii again, and I did some more workshops, and then the year after or so, I had another workshop at the New York Open Center with John Perkins. At that time, John Perkins was not as known as he is now. It was 1998 or 97. And so he was talking about going to Ecuador. And I just knew that I have to go. I just felt it in my gut feeling that I really have to go. And you know, like going to tell your family that you are leaving for 2.5 weeks, um, and we have no money and no time and employees in my agency and all of that stuff, you know. And I knew that I have to go, and I just did it. Of course, when I came back and I told them about this ayahuasca stuff that I did and all the other stuff, my kids were like, "Oh, my father is a drug addict." My daughter said, "Daddy, why can't you be just normal like anybody else?" And I said, "I can't. You know, this is who I am. You know, you gotta be." Uh, I mean, I can't say that the transition was like very fast. It took time, and most of it because I was such a skeptic. I was such non-believer that even after Jose Joaquin Pineda, the shaman that I met in Ecuador, and I became his apprentice, um, demanded that I would start doing healing, I just like refused because who am I, you know? And there is some parts of me that's still very, you know, a non-believer,
Mm.
kind of questioning the validity of all the stuff that I do. But I think that it's in many ways um, it help it's healthy because you always have to question what you do, and um, find a way to verify it that it's actually helping other people. And that's what my work is really about, the visioning part, but I'm really putting a lot more emphasis on the application into your life and how you use those applications, and to make your life better. Because at the end, the name shaman means the keeper of the fire, the guy who keeps the tradition of of the community together, the physical, emotional, spiritual. And another, the Amazonian, when it is said that the shaman is the person that makes other people's dreams come true, which is what advertising people do. You know, we're making other people's dreams come true, not ours. You know, so you know, it is a process, but this process really started because of the New York Open Center, because we are so lucky to have a place like that in New York, which is like the busiest, most horrendous capital of capitalism in the world. You can find a place like that that you can develop yourself. You can get uh, the courage to be who you are, and a place that you can relax into it. I think it's so. Thank you for
Mm.
providing this immense space. You know, I travel all around the world. I mean, I teach in many places, but there is nothing like the New York Open Center all around the world. You know, I told you that I think that the New York Open Center should be uh, create satellites all around the world. I mean, why not? You know, we have you have the best teachers, you have the best ideas. We can spread that wisdom that we so needed all around the world. So thank you.
I would like to note I did not pay you to say any of this.
No,
You
no, no, no. You didn't have to.
you say this all sincerely. I wrote down, you just said the courage to be who you are, that the Open Center helps people with the courage to be who you are. And I wouldn't have initially heard that statement alone sounds sort of soft and fluffy. The courage to be who I am. I already am who I am. What does that mean? You know, but something you've taught me that you yourself just talked about 5-10 minutes ago is understanding your own gifts and that everybody has them, that you don't need to be some semi deity person that I remember feeling this when I met Ram Dass, the same situation. Like, is he a man the same as the rest of us? He is. He looks like, like, how does he get where he is? And it's like, we all have these gifts, and you do shamanic palm reading also. And you talked to me about having the seer and the healer line. And really, you communicating that with me, it was already there. You like unlocked things. to say like, oh shit, okay, this is marked on my fucking body. The line is right there. I can't. There's nothing I can do to change. I guess I can scrape off all my skin, but it's still there. And it really did give me courage to continue stepping into who I am.
Absolutely. I mean, um, you know, the course that I'm going to be teaching soon at the Open Center is it's called soul mending, and the idea is that
July
sometimes
16th. So many. July 16th.
oh, July 16th. So well, we have a free a free introduction course on this Thursday. But
Okay.
what I'm really trying to do is to separate between your trauma, your those events that left you frozen of fear and constructs of ideas that does not belong to the age where you are now, and to make amends with it and to love that part and to understand that those issues are now they are not with you now, but they came here to show you your gifts and how you can use that. And you know, Ipupiara, the shaman that I worked with in Brazil for 12 years until his passing, he used to say that we are all shamans. We are all, it's all in, all the quality of the shamans or the healers are encoded in our DNA. There's nothing new. We are all born like that in order for us to make sure that the human species survive on this earth. So for us to see visions is part of survival. For us to dream or to hug people or to sing them a song or hug them nicely to give them the warmth and security, or even just to listen nicely to people, to give them the sense that you see them. That's all the work of the shamans, but it's not exclusive for shamans. Every person on this earth is a shaman, potentially is a shaman. Not every person has to do this work because it's a hard work, but every person have that qualities. And I think that part of it, and I think that that's so important to say, is that most people are afraid of that. What if I give you now all the gifts that you are born with? How can you hold that responsibility to be the poet? How can you be the seer? It's a lot of responsibility. So a lot of people are playing small to keep themselves safe, but that's not really what God asks you to be or what your soul came here to experience. We all came here to achieve our soul purpose or our soul teaching. And you know, like I say in the shamanic palm reading, we get all this download at the age of between 4 and 5 months within the mother's womb. All our nervous system and including our palms are written already before you are born. Actually, what you're doing is you're just playing the map. You're going through it. So our work is really to help people to fulfill their life purpose or the blueprint of their life before we are born. And the trauma or the soul loss is part of that.
When you talk about I think you said like the map of your life is already there. So as part of shamanic work to remove the obstacles on that path that's already there.
Well, we have to understand that some of the obstacles are actually gifts.
That's right.
So we are, yes, of course, we are trying to remove block energy or curses or envy, or whatever people put on you as part of the traumas, but also to understand why we, the creator, created those people who give us traumas, why we created those obstacles to begin with. What are we here to experience or to learn of having those traumas? I know it might be a little controversial because some people don't really want to feel pain, but that's okay. But and I understand that because nobody wants pain. But the problem is that if you look at your life, you can't really develop only with good things. So if, let's say that you have a son or a daughter and you always tell them that they are wonderful, they're great, you pamper them, they don't fall, then they will never learn to walk. And to walk, you really have to fall. And you have to understand what is rejection, and you have to understand what is to develop compassion, right? You have to develop all those tools to make yourself a healer or later on. So most people who are healers like you and me and others, um, they experience or life teaching early on to develop their capacity to understand what other people experience so they can heal them. So we are the wounded healers, yes.
Okay, I had two. One, when you were talking about the obstacles, I feel you, and it made me think of a very good buddy of mine, Patrick Finan. He's got these two girls, two little girls, and he was teaching them to ski. And his oldest, he taught her that falling down is the fun part of ski. He was just repeating to her, "Hey, it's really fun when you fall down and you get back up." And he primed her with that so much that when he took her out skiing, she wasn't scared of the falling down. It wasn't a failure. He convinced her, no, this is a fun thing. This is good. And so she totally skied past like that. Oh my God, fuck, I'm on the ground. I failed. And saw it as like, no, this is just a step toward skiing. And it totally like changed the approach for her. But I was thinking when you were talking about how like all of us have gifts or the potential, let's say, to be a shaman, whether we all have the same gifts or not. Is that similar to like there's an artist in all of us? Like back when we were 3, everybody was artistic. It's once you get older and you tell yourself, oh, what I'm drawing is no good. See, I suck. And you put your own block up. I mean, it's like, I guess I'm wondering like, I can't be Michael Jordan or LeBron James, even if I wanted to. Even if I removed every mental obstacle, I will still not be that. But is creative fields, is it more like removing your own blockages? Not to say some people aren't more creative than others, naturally, but is a lot of it just, you got to get rid of the shit and let it flow?
Well, in the Celtic tradition, the name for a shaman is a bard, which
What?
is a
Oh,
bard, B-A-R-D, which is a poet.
oh, Bard, B-A-R-D. Okay, gotcha.
It's a poet.
Yeah.
The whole work of the shamanic work is a work of the senses, of employing all the senses to create theater.
Hmm.
You are the creator, and the way you heal, you're creating the environment for a person to become the flowers or to become connected to the cosmos and create that. So you are the creator. uh, it, to be a shaman, you have to be an artist. And so I believe that we are all shamans and we are all artists too. The problem is that for us as a society is that when a child excel in, let's say, long distance running, so we give him so much applause for that, but we don't give him applause for when he's trying to paint. So we are painting him in a corner. We're
Yep.
putting in a corner. So we don't develop a person, a complete person. We don't develop. I mean, you look at the priorities of our education system. We don't teach them to play music, to sing, to dance, to which is what how you understand space. How do you understand the cosmos? Because part of our senses, or the nine sense, is the ability to adjust in space. So I truly believe, I don't really think that there is separation between artist and shaman. Every shaman have to be is an artist, and every artist is a shaman, because you have to have visions. You have to, when you are creating an art, maybe you don't consciously. I know that when I was painting, I was like seeing the seeing already. You know, I never thought that this is anything special, because I was an artist, right? So I was seeing the painting that I was doing way before they are born. But it's also part of the shamans to use visions. So I think that we are not separated. We are part businessmen, we are part shamans, we are part healers, we are part artists. We are all of it, and I think that we need to look at human as in the fullest expression of who we are. Not to say you are. Do you know how many people are coming to me that they are accountant or business people? And I ask him, "Are you happy?" Because in their hand, you see a shaman or healer or something, and they said, "No, no, but my mother told me or my father told me that I have to be an accountant or a lawyer." So in their mind, they put themselves into that road or path of becoming a lawyer. And no matter, I mean, it doesn't important if they like it or not. If it's um, uh, really speak to their heart. That's why we have a midlife crisis, you know.
Because we don't yet have the courage to be who we are. The courage to be who you are. Okay, on this topic, let's use something you helped me with. So outside of, you also teach shamanic palm reading at the Open Center. When you initially read my palm almost a year ago, and you said I have a strong seer and a healer line, you also said something else to me. You said, "Do you write poetry?" So, Russ, do you write poetry? I said, "No, no, never." Like, actually, no, I said, "You know what? I write my mother a poem every year for her birthday." I forgot about that. And I realized, no, almost every year I've written my mom a poem since I was 7 or 8. And you said, "You need to write poetry every day." And I didn't really ask you why. I was just like, okay, sure. And I read several days a week. I still do it. Talk about why that is important, like why you felt that would be important for me. And I think other people may relate to, I never would have thought some creative expression could be important to the courage to be who I am, and why that's so healing. Also, I think also talk about why becoming who you are, revealing to yourself, owning it, why that's important to healing. That was a lot I just threw at you, but
I think that where we are sitting alone somewhere, uh, our soul wants to be recognized. There is a yearning that our soul wants to merge with the reason why we are here. And so there's a lot of noise when we are living here on this earth, a lot of obstacles, a lot of, you need to make money, you need to support yourself, you need to do all of those things. But inside yourself, you know what's your yearning. You recognize that yearning, and not fulfilling that yearning is suffering. But when you, like in your hand, you have a seer and a poet or communicator on the emotional level. If you don't do that, you will feel dissatisfied, angry, upset. You're not in the right place, and you would not know why. Because your soul, the soul is not part of you. Your soul is not something that is in you. It is it's the cloud. It's that energy that is inside and outside of us that sometimes we sending it away us, and in dream time we send our soul. So the soul is not attached to us; it's come and go. And but that soul hold that yearning, that purpose that you came here to experience. And when you are returning to the soul, when you feel that you are in dialogue with that yearning, um, this is what elevates you. This is what how you reconnect with that reason why you came here to be, and then you also feel the most. Uh, I don't want to use this word because I don't believe in that, but more enlightened, more connected to the whole, or you become whole. And I think that that's why it's so important uh, to work on to find what is your life purpose here, what is your soul yearning here. And I think I don't know if we are using this so much in the shamanic tradition, teaching too much here, but I think that it's so important to talk about the yearning to the beloved, you know, to connect to that force that a lot of Rumi is writing about. How do you connect to the beloved, to that something that is connect you to the cosmos and to become one with it. But
So
I think we get too serious here.
no, well, okay. Um, that's true. Usually when you and I talk, we're just sort of fucking around for a while. And then we like occasionally touch on something serious. Oh man, I was just going to ask you another serious question, but
Well, you can ask. I'll see what happens.
well, like we're at a time now where people feel very disconnected. Technology has created more disconnection than we've ever had before. People are isolated. People are lonely. COVID has exacerbated the issue very quickly. And I mean, also, I think the divisiveness politically right now has people feeling disconnected. Fortunately, I think our country is, I really hope, owning the racism issues more than we have in the past. That in a way helps connect people, but it also shines a light on disconnection between people. Do you feel like, I'm wondering, shamanism has become very popular. Do you see it? Are those two things related? That shamanism has to do a lot with connection to things. People feel very disconnected right now. Now it's popular, or is that just chance?
Well, the process of the popularization of shamanism started in the 1960s with Michael Harner and John Perkins and other people who came from the Amazon or from other countries, and they offered us a new platform to think about our life, which is more. It's not new. They just used or brought the messages of the native people, or the people who were still connected to the earth, back to our society there. And our society is so split, you know, and we are split or separated from nature. So there is like we talked about the soul yearning, and I do believe that every person on this earth is yearning to be connected to the whole, to become part of a community, part of the nature, part of the stars, part of the cosmos. I guarantee you that you take white, black, blue, yellow, orange people, you ask them what is it that they want. They want to be connected. They want to be loved. That's really the issue here, is that, you know, to be loved. And but I think that, you know, if you take the whole a higher perspective of all of it, is that we are now in the beginning of the new Pachacuti, the new Condor and the Eagle time, the new 500 years period that started in 1993, 500 years after the demise of Atahualpa, the king of the Inca. And the previous 500 years were years of occupation of the masculine energies that came from the Western world and occupy this South America, the Condor land. And in 1993, there all of a sudden, people, the shamans, heard the call to share their wisdom with the people of the North. And that's really where all of us kind of like woke up or still waking up to the Condor cry to live in peace and harmony and sharing, and the rise of the feminine energies and of femininity. And I'm not talking about just women, although they carry most of it, but also the feminine part in ourselves. You know, like we talked before about you need to bring the two parts together. So I think that right now we are in the very beginning of time of that change between the masculine domination and the feminine energy that is of more of harmony and sharing. And of course, the masculine energy never really let go. You can see that there is a rise of dictatorships all around the world. All of them are men. All of them are old. All of them are not willing to give up on their power. And they are feeding all those people with fear of the new change. And right now we are in the middle of it. I am incredibly optimistic that maybe in 50 years, maybe in 70 years, the shift will happen. And we are now feeling all that pain of letting go of the old regime, old masculine doctrines of army and corporations and religion and blah, 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 all of that stuff that people, we are doctrinated to believe in. And we don't really see yet the light or where we're going. It's very confusing time, but I have a belief that with all this horrible thing that Trump and his enablers are and all the people in Brazil and Turkey and Israel and Russia and all of those men who are still, to my point of view, they all feel impotent. They all feel irrelevant. And they're trying to hold on to that thing instead of understanding that they need to share to create wealth, a new era. They have to be the ushers of that. But so it's on our shoulders now. And I'm not talking about new age stuff. I'm not in new age language at all. But it's upon us to act to help this conscious revolution to happen and to create a demand or to bring this to a tipping point where more and more people believe that the future is in our hand and not in the aggressive way, not in the masculine tools that we had, but more from the heart tools. And we need to do that one by one, by one, by one. And the best way to do it is through the way I see it, of course, is through shamanism, because the shamanism encourage you to go hug a tree, to feel the connection of the earth and the sun, to be part of the universe, not separated from the universe, and also to respect other people's spirit, to respect other people's ideas, to respect that the mouse and the lions and humans and the worm, we are all the same. We all have the same intelligence. We all serving a purpose on this earth, and we have to respect them. That humans are not by any means better than any other animals, if at all. And that's what I said to my people in the class, is that human is a very primitive animal. We hardly see, we hardly hear, we hardly smell compared to other animals. They are so much more advanced than we are. So we had to develop our brain or our consciousness maybe to hold that all this knowledge. But that doesn't mean that we are better. My God, I mean, look at bees and in their architectural and their responsibility for community. I mean, I wish we were half of that. So I think that my hope is that that that's change, that the shift between the masculine energies and the heart-centered condor energies, um, it will happen, but the question is how many people will have to die, how many what the traumas that we will create, how can we convince those people who so afraid of losing their potency or their masculine energy to give up, to go to start flow in that river of life, on the river of the history that we are in.
Well, I think, first of all, that was beautiful. Um, I think you just gave a good commercial for the Open Center. I was just listening. I'm thinking that's why we exist as an organization. Is that shift? When you said 50 and then 70 years, I felt it. I like cringed inside my body. I'm like, oh no, really? Oh my God, I don't want it to take that long. And I thought, then I kept listening to you, and I think this is our responsibility. This is our mission as an organization: is quicken that shift. And to do that, we have to bring more people in. So it's expanding the audience, helping people understand that these tools exist. And also the people that already know that, give them more tools. So enable people to be more active participants in the shift. Bring more people into the shift and give people more tools and power to speed the shift along. That's why we do what we do, right? That's why you and I individually do what we do. But that's why the Open Center exists as an organization. So I think that's a great note to end on. Soul Mending, July 16th. Our free intro is this Thursday. You're going to have a trip in, I won't go through all the details again, hopefully this year. I also love what you were saying about masculine and feminine energy. I feel like we could have a separate conversation on that in a very not new agey way. In fact, I'll say this to the listeners. We want to program more on masculine and feminine energy in the workplace, in life. It's definitely an important topic. We would love to hear from the audience. What would people like to see us program? What would be most helpful on the topics of masculine and feminine energy? And it's not particular to one gender at all, or the way you identify as a gender. So Itzhak, you know how much I love you. I feel like we are brothers. And I really deeply, deeply appreciate our bond. And thank you for coming on today. And thank you for teaching at the Open Center for so long, being so popular. You're one of our most popular people. People love you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, brother. I'll talk to you later.
Okay.
Bye.
Thanks.